Welcome to Women's Leadership Success, episode number 143, Elevating Your Leadership Impact Through Reputation Management and Strategic Visibility. This part 2 of a two-part series is based upon my new leadership brand blueprint. In our previous episode, we covered commitment tracking and stakeholder relationships. Today, we're focusing on 3 powerful practices that separate extraordinary leaders from the pack. The quarterly reputation audit that reveals hidden opportunities and threats, why feedback collection fails for most leaders, and how to get honest insights from feedback, and many more things. My system has helped hundreds of leaders in my coaching practice increase their visibility, influence, and earnings much faster than they thought possible. Whether you're aiming for the next promotion or building long-term relationship legacy, these practices are the foundation. Be sure and stay tuned to the end of the show where I'll share how you can download my complete leadership brand blueprint as a free gift to accelerate your leadership journey.
Welcome to Women's Leadership Podcast, showing you how to influence people, improve your performance, and advance your career. Brought to you by women's leadership and career expert Sabrina Braham and womensleadershipsuccess.com. Here's your chance to meet women trendsetters leading the way to success, accomplishment, and balance in business and life. No matter if you're a manager, CEO, or entrepreneur, join Sabrina for coaching and no-nonsense advice to improve your career and bottom line.
Hey, good day, folks. This is Tim Warren, co-founder and executive producer of Women's Leadership Success. Today, we're back with part 2 of a special 2-part series on leadership reputation. And I'm thrilled to be with my wife and founder of Women's Leadership Success. Good day, Sabrina.
Good day. Good to see you.
And for those watching the video, you can see our wonder dog, Anza, in the background there, who's always, she's a great leader herself. So, a lot of the stuff that about this episode, I know you covered in the introduction that people have just listened to. So we're going to jump right into the questions. And again, all of this, folks, is based on the new leadership brand accelerator blueprint that Sabrina has recently released and is going to be free to you as a listener and subscriber. So on that note, we're going to jump into the questions. So the second part of what we wanted to cover today was the blueprint, leadership blueprint, was the quarterly audit of your professional reputation. And you're very systematic on your approach on this, and the way you broke it down is really nice. And this particular part was looking at your reputation from a quarterly standpoint. So what prompted you to develop this systematic approach to audit your reputation?
I think the thing that people need to understand is your reputation is something that's constantly changing and evolving. And if you are not managing it, somebody else is. What that means is somebody else is deciding who you are and talking about that. And whatever they're saying is not going to be as accurate or as authentic as if you do it yourself. So it's really important to keep current on managing your reputation and seeing where you stand with different people and in different situations. So this particular section, it's really important not only to check on the people, which we talked about last time, but also pay attention to your LinkedIn reputation, how you're coming across on LinkedIn, presentations you do, papers you give, your profile on LinkedIn or X or Facebook or wherever you're doing it. And also to your reputation when you speak up in meetings. And this goes back to what we were talking about of checking with someone and seeing how you're coming across. So all of these things impact how you're coming across, and it helps you to keep your reputation current, to keep improving your executive presence, and to really put across the best you can possibly put across. None of this is about being phony. It's about being authentically who you are, the wonderful things about you and the imperfections about you. It's okay.
There's certainly a lot more opportunities to enhance your reputation, be way beyond what is face-to-face these days versus the old days, and really and more opportunities to trip over your own feet and as you said, have someone else create your reputation. So this leadership reputation and branding blueprint that you created was based on a systematic approach that you've used over the literally decades to help other leaders advance. Mm-hmm. Can you give us some examples of some people who have utilized this, who may have had one brand in their business, but how they've leveraged that and gone way beyond it? I know you've got some great examples.
Yeah. Olaf Boinger is one. He's a manager of Daimler in Germany, and he has just done a great job of developing who he is on LinkedIn, which has influenced his career and helped him there. And it's also made him a thought leader in his field. And Ari Aiden is another one who has done that. And Jade Bonacola, who has almost 400,000 followers on LinkedIn and is one of the heads of Google. And she's enhanced her reputation at work and also on her own. And I'll just mention, compared to those people, I don't have as many followers on LinkedIn. And if you're listening and you'd like to follow me, I would love to have you do that, by the way. But I'm posting really good suggestions for how you can improve your career every single day. And the people that comment on those suggestions that I make are very helpful to me, because as they ask me questions and bring up situations in their comments, I'm revising how I think about things, and it's continually improving my writing, my ability to take all the research that I'm constantly studying and put it into the posts, and to keep revising it so I have cutting edge information all the time. So the more active you are, doing presentations, writing papers, doing LinkedIn, on the one hand, it's like, oh, this is cool, this is who you are. But the other is the interaction with your audience, whether it's on LinkedIn or in a speech, is so invaluable, because it keeps changing you and helping you to evolve and grow in the present moment. It's very, very exciting. It's really wonderful. And once you get involved in doing that, you're going to really like it, because it's going to really, really help you grow yourself and be the best person you can be.
It's a pretty exciting time when you think about technology and how it can exponentially amplify your brand and take your what you're doing internally as a great leadership, and through podcasts, LinkedIn, as you mentioned, go from being a great leader to a thought leader, and really be seen as a leader in your field. And I can only imagine that given the choice of in today's world of downsizing and top management has to make some decisions on who are the leaders they're going to retain. It's going to be the people who've gone above and beyond, and their reputation has been supercharged through their own efforts, and really be seen as thought leaders. So that's pretty exciting. So
it is exciting.
So this is a perfect segue to look at the importance of one's online presence, and how it's changed over the years and how it has impacted leadership. And you just touched a little bit on it just now.
Yeah. Did you have another question on that?
Yeah, the question was, how has the importance of online presence changed in recent years for leaders?
Well, to me, it kind of started with COVID when all of us were impacted by that. We all had to stay home. All of a sudden we're remote, and we've learned how to connect remotely and develop ways to say who we are remotely. I much prefer in person to remote, but sometimes we just can't do that. And so we have an opportunity with LinkedIn, with X, with all the different social media to decide how we want to be perceived and to begin developing that. And one of the things that I want to say is, so when I started on LinkedIn, I was really anxious about saying the right thing. And the reality is the posts I was putting up were not that great. They were okay, but they weren't that great. But just being persistent and consistently doing it, giving myself a little bit of slack on, I wasn't used to doing this. I had been out of practice writing. The more I did it, the easier it got. The more I did it, the more feedback I started getting from other people on LinkedIn. And the fun thing about LinkedIn is you begin to attract people in other industries or in your industry that are like-minded, that have the same integrity you have, the same outlook on life. And so it's fun to have a community in person and to go to events where you're in person, but you also end up developing a community online, a community of people that support you and really want to see you be successful. So it's a really great thing to grow your business, to personally grow. And there's a lot of resources available to help you. Maybe in the show notes, you could put in the Donna Serdula LinkedIn, how to develop your LinkedIn profile, which will help people listening right now so they can really get a better idea of some things they can do that will really help. And, I said this last time, but yard by yard life is hard. Inch by inch, life's a cinch. And really, it doesn't matter what the task is, whether you're going to be an Olympic athlete or you want to get promoted in a company or you want to get better at writing or you want to get better at being a thought leader or giving speeches or whatever the thing is. You have to start with where you are, have some compassion for your ineptness at that, and just keep taking the next step. And I promise you, when you do that, you will get better. And one of the things about the blueprint checklist is this is a way you can really amplify and get your results a lot faster. That's why I want to give you this gift.
I think that couple of things. That first, on the Leadership Brand Accelerator blueprint, that you've set it up to be super simple. That it's a fill in the blanks. It's really it's a checklist. It's a workbook, and it's broken down by nice simple parts. It's not everything one would need to be a superstar, but man, it's pretty darn robust. And we even wondered, it's so robust, why are we giving this away for free? But that's
right.
That's a different topic. But
we could be selling it for a lot of money, and we've decided, I really want everybody listening to this, I want my audience to really excel. It's my passion. I do this program because I want you all to have a coach that's helping you succeed in your life and in your business, and this will help you a lot.
And I do want to add that I think you've come a long way on your LinkedIn posts, and it's great to have a community and mentors. You have mentors and people that you follow and that are superstars and have really helped elevate your messaging. But it's great that the lane that you work in is really combining your psychological expertise with a leadership strategy to focus on the soft side, the EQ, the emotional intelligence, and really what sets you apart. So we're going to wrap up this particular segment. But as far as online presentation, offline brand presence, how do you help leaders align that brand presence both online and in person?
Well, I do it with one-on-one coaching, and also I have a wonderful mastermind group, and the mastermind is a really great thing to do. I have a community on LinkedIn. The mastermind group is a great community to share your struggles, share your successes, and it really, really helps to propel your career forward. So those are two things, and we're going to have a course coming out in the next few months that will also be very helpful, and we'll be sending you more information on that as time goes by.
It's been really fun to watch your mastermind develop and the caliber and the diversity of the leaders that have shown up, and their commitment to help each other has been really impressive. And I know that everybody's gotten a ton out of it. And reputation and branding is certainly a topic that you guys have talked about, and how it influenced both people internally that were wanting to promote it, but a lot of stuff that you guys have talked about in that area around with tech layoffs and things, and on how to leverage that for being a top choice for a new hire to get a job. So it's so important. So we're going to move into the last part of this interview, and one of the last elements of the leadership brand blueprint, and it's on how to get regular feedback from trusted colleagues, and it's specifically how to help with your impact and effectiveness. So I know, because we're married, and that getting feedback, even that might be totally honest and being totally helpful, doesn't always feel great. And so how does it work? And sometimes when you're getting the feedback, you may not even think it's really helpful at that moment. And so on that note, why isn't feedback useful for some people?
Why isn't it useful for some people? Okay. If you aren't open to getting feedback, you're not going to be able to grow and develop professionally or even personally, whether it's your business or your relationship. So learning to be able to get feedback, listen to it, and basically pivot or modify your position, what you're doing based on what you're hearing, is part of being into your professional growth, continuing to change and grow and be more than you are right now. And you and I have a really good marriage. And part of that is, even if it's difficult sometimes, we keep working at it until we can utilize whatever feedback we got, or convince the other person that they were mistaken about what they thought. So it's in every area. It's in your family life. It's with your friends. It's with your business. You need to learn how to get feedback. So one of the things that helps, that I've never seen in a book, I've never seen anybody talk about, but I've used it with people for over 30 years, and that is paying attention to what kind of state you're in when you get the feedback. So the one state is, I'm in my body, I'm feeling everything, and the person's telling me something about me. In that state, anything that's negative or critical is like a punch in the gut. It is super hard to take. If you go into the state of you're watching a movie and it isn't even really about you, this person's just talking to the person in the movie, so you disconnect from being in your body, you become almost like a little birdie over on the wall watching, it gets easier to take even really negative feedback. This was years ago, I was doing a communication workshop for a large county. And on the break, a woman came up to me. She was about, I'm going to say 4'5", very diminutive. And she said, "Can you teach me how to not be afraid when I'm talking to somebody?" And I said, "Tell me what the situation is." She said, "Well, I book the men into the jail, and they're usually over 6 foot tall. They're really big, and they seem really scary to me." And I said, "Well, try this." And it was this whole thing of don't be in your body. Imagine you're over here. And the next week when I was doing another training, she told me, "Wow, what a difference. Now I can book them, do the thing, and it's not bothering me. I'm just watching the interaction." So it just makes a huge difference. So learning to take in the feedback is one thing. And then the other part that's really, really important is to ask clarifying questions about that feedback. So let's say, for instance, you said, "Well, I don't like the sweater that you've worn today." Okay, well, having been raised in a really poor family and not having many clothes, if I'm in my body, that would punch me right in the gut. But since I'm over here, I can ask the question, and the question would be, what is it about my sweater that you don't like? The answers you get when you ask clarifying questions will surprise you, because many times the person has not really even thought through why they don't like it. And so you can get something very interesting, like, "Well, I've never liked rust color." "Oh, so you don't like rust color?" "No, I don't like rust color." "Oh, okay." Or, "My ex-wife used to wear that color and I hate my ex-wife." "Oh, okay. So you don't like what I'm wearing because you hate your ex-wife? Yeah. Well, usually at that point, we're both laughing because I'm not his or her ex-wife. And so it doesn't really have anything to do with me. So many times people haven't thought through their feedback or criticism, and it's important to get more information about what they're talking about. But assuming that it's good feedback, so let's say the person says something, and I'm going to use an example. I had a client who he was director at a company, super qualified. His people loved him. And no matter what he did, he had not gotten promoted. And I asked him, have you ever asked the vice president, how come I'm not getting promoted? Which was like, whoa, I could actually ask him that? And I said, sure, just ask him why you're not getting promoted. And what he said to me was, you're not good at speaking up in meetings. So the first time he heard that, it was like, oh, okay. And then he went back in and he asked the clarifying questions. Well, what is it about? Two things. What is it about the way I'm speaking? And that's one thing. But could you give me a rating on a 1 to 10? And, we talked about that earlier. But the 1 to 10 is a really, really good thing to do because now we can both measure improvement. So on a 1 to 10, Randall asked, on a 1 to 10, what number am I in terms of speaking up in meetings? And what the boss said was a 5. Well, this shocked him because he would have thought he was a 7 or an 8. Then the question is, what would I have to do to raise that a half point? And he said, you would have to be more prepared. It seems like you're just talking off the cuff and you're not prepared. That was good information, and it was true. He was thinking he could just walk in there and do it, and he wasn't preparing. So he started preparing in advance. It made a difference. But here's the big, big thing you need to do later. And this is also on this, the brand check sheet, so you can keep track of this. And the question is, okay, so you saw me in another meeting. On a 1 to 10, how would you rate me? Oh, well, now you've gone up to about a 7.5. Really, what made the difference? Well, I can tell you're prepared. Oh, well, what would I have to do to be an 8? Well, you would have to be making eye contact with the people in the room and asking them, do they have any questions? So every time he got another piece of information of how to bump it up, he would go do that and then come back to the vice president and said, how am I doing? And he just called me a few days ago and said, I got the vice president position. I got promoted.
Yay.
And it's all based on the things that we did in that checklist and the suggestions you gave me.
That's super exciting. Yeah. No, it's fun, and that speaks to this component of this checklist, and is that getting the right feedback from trusted colleagues. And I know that the typical methodology of how people do this would be a 360. It's a very common, well-known thing. But what your approach and your system is quite different. So what really sets this system apart, specifically about your system about getting regular feedback from trusted colleagues?
I don't find most 360s to be very helpful. One, having feedback once a year doesn't really help. And to not have some way to go back and show improvement, to wait a whole year, it's devastating. And usually when you're giving somebody feedback, like you don't do good presentations in meetings, they may not know what to do next. That's where doing something more regularly really helps a lot. I want to give you another example. I was working with a man who had recently been promoted to director at a large insurance company, and he had a 360, and everybody said he was doing a lousy job, which just absolutely devastated him because he cared about his job, he cared about his people, and it kind of hurt his feelings. Wow, I'm trying so hard, nothing's happening. And we worked on, hey, you got to be able to handle feedback, and are you willing to go to everybody in your department at least once a month and ask them, how am I doing on a 1 to 10? And what's one little thing I could do? A 0.5, you never want to go huge. What's one small thing I could do that you think would make a difference? So I happen to be working with all the people in this particular department. So I can tell you that when he first started doing it, they said they were very suspicious. Like he was getting information, but he was going to lay him off, or he was not going to be happy with them. And so they didn't give him very honest feedback to begin with. But they were surprised. Month after month, he kept coming back and saying, how am I doing? And looking for answers and asking questions. And they started realizing, hey, he meant it. He really wanted to improve. And so they started telling him what they thought, which was great. And the other thing that happens when you're asking people for feedback and you're taking action is it activates their reticular activator, that part of the brain that starts noticing things. So if you ask somebody, how am I doing? And okay, I'm going to go try this and I'm going to check with you next month to see how I'm doing. They're looking for improvement where they might not have noticed it before. Now in that meeting, since they told you should speak up more, they're going, oh, look, Jim did it. He spoke up more. They're keeping track of that. So they're starting to notice behaviors that they hadn't noticed that really show who you are and how you want to show up in the company.
You mean it influenced his reputation?
It influenced his reputation, and it changed their perception of him. It changed their trust of him and his trust of them. So it deepened the relationship. And you know this from the marriage. The more we share with each other and keep working to make things better, it deepens the relationship, it deepens the trust, and it's true for business relationships. It's true for all kinds of relationships.
Another cool thing about that in a business team environment is that it makes those people, those trusted colleagues, they gave you feedback. They notice that you took action on it, you made improvement, and they become advocates. It's almost that your team becomes a cheerleader for your success. And I can imagine that would really very much elevate one's reputation and their brand so that's very, very powerful. So we're gonna kind of wrap up.
I just want to say one other thing, and that is, a lot of times when you really actively do this, you get elected to the next position as opposed to being appointed. It's like when you have a bunch of people saying, yeah, he's really good at speaking up and Boy, he's so good at communicating and being transparent and apologizing if he's made a mistake. Wow, he would be a great vice president.
Yeah.
So when you have a lot of people saying that, it reinforces the upper management promoting you.
Wow, this is great stuff. We've covered a lot of things today, Sabrina. I must call you honey. So let's remind people, how can they get the Leadership Brand Blueprint, and how else can they connect with you and interact with you and take advantage of your decades of helping leaders be all they can be and advance their careers and being that person that gets elected for advancement?
Would you do me a favor and share all the ways they can get this, download this, and then I'll tell the other things?
I will be delighted.
Thank you.
So if you go to www.womensleadershipsuccess.com/leadership brand blueprint, all one word, no spaces, you'll get taken immediately to a page where you can see more about it and what it covers, and sign up for that and get immediate access. It's a PDF document, works on any computer, and it truly is step by step. And if you listen to part one of this interview, which was WLS 142, excuse me, you learned what was covered in the first part of the blueprint. Secondly, they should contact you for one-on-one coaching, and this is one of your superpowers is to connect with where people are, what's holding them back, and help them overcome blocks or realize their potential. A lot of clients that you work with are they're superstars, but they knew that there was more. And one of your superpowers is helping people where they're at move to that next level and really be a thought leader. And then, of course, you mentioned this previously, is follow you on LinkedIn because you're always posting great tips and things in this area. And
you can download the Brand Accelerator checklist there too.
That's right. It's in the About section. Thank you. Right. And it's in the header. There's a little graphic there. Thank you for reminding me of that. And of course, the thing that you mentioned earlier that I think I'm super proud of you for getting going and attracting the caliber of leaders you did, and that's your Impact Executive Leadership Mastermind Group.
Right. It's a great group.
It's a great group. So
yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, download the accelerator, and I'll keep letting you know as other things become available. And thank you, Tim, for doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Always fun to expand our relationship and our professional passion for people and being in service. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you found value in what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Podbean, or Podchaser. It truly makes a difference in helping others discover these insights. Ready to take your leadership presence to the next level? Get immediate free access to my Leadership Brand Blueprint Accelerator at www.womensleadershipsuccess.com/leadership brand blueprint. If you're looking for more personalized guidance, contact me at sabrina@sabrinabraham.com or DM me on LinkedIn about a one-on-one coaching session or about joining my exclusive Impact Executive Leadership Mastermind group. For regular leadership tips and inspiration, follow me on LinkedIn. Just search for Sabrina Braham, Executive Leadership Coach. Until next time, keep elevating your presence, advancing your career, and increasing your impact. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining your host, Sabrina Braham, on another Women's Leadership Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email her at sabrina@sabrinabraham.com. Since 1989, Sabrina and her team have helped hundreds of women managers, business leaders, and entrepreneurs with valuable trainings, articles, books, and executive coaching. For additional tips, interviews, and free access to Great Leaders Today mini course, visit www.womensleadershipsuccess.com.